is your host, Mr. Skrilltown himself. Welcome to Skrilltown Talk. And in a moment, we will have our special guest tonight, Corina Avalos. She is the music, radio, and media personality for Up in the Mix. I'm excited about having, before I get into who she is, let me play a little clip back.
It's your girl Corina with Up in the Mix, your music and radio plug. I have nothing to add today, but the fans. So exciting. I am so excited to share the shoot that I did today for the vlog, and it's so precious and cute. We played with lots of really adorable props, and I really hope that you guys like it when it comes out. So yeah, stay tuned.
Yeah, she's dope. We've kind of been tapping in for a while. She does a lot. She interviews a lot of people, has a lot going on her station and on her show. So yeah, I'm excited about us interviewing her tonight. So we're just kind of waiting for her to come on. But I'll give you a little bit of her backstory. Corina Avalos is a multi-faceted envelope pusher in the entertainment space. She hails from the Midwest, but proudly represents her Mexican roots. It says her love for music and radio led to the conceptualization of Up in the Mix, where airplay gets praise. And then it says, driven by a hunger for new music discovery and a genuine desire to help rising artists gain exposure, she committed to her work in music and journalism. With over 9 years of experience in radio, label operations, and music licensing, she possesses a deep understanding. So yeah, she's dope, and I'm excited about being able to interview her tonight. So just kind of waiting to see what's going on. But in the meantime, just kind of want to speak on a couple of things, while I got people listening and tuning in. One of the things I want to discuss while I can, and we can always go back to this, you can always reach out to me, you can always DM me, email me, but people want to know the best approach for how to market themselves as an artist. So let's talk about that. Let me see. I'm gonna put the chats in here. Let's see. Okay. Let's talk about that. So I'll go back to the early 2000s, late 90s. When I was an artist, it was all about the physical presence, meaning that you had to be seen. You had to be seen and heard. That was either by doing listening parties, performing, of course, open mics, shows, just different things, freestyle battles, talent shows, showcases, and so forth. You would even do signings, like, go by the tape CD shop, do a signing when your release first comes out, release parties. Sometimes you get radio interviews. It's the way to be. People seeing you, fans seeing you actually like hustle and market yourself. That was how you got the fans' respect. That was how you, as an artist, gained that fans' attention. So That was then. Now it's different. Now you don't have to be seen, or sometimes you have to be seen a lot more. Um, People have done very well without any videos at all. Artists have done very well without even having their song on the radio. I know a few artists that have never made videos, have only brought out singles and EPs and albums that have done pretty well, have been kind of successful with how they feel about their music. So, with that being said, it's a different way of marketing yourself. Um, People think it's all about Spotify. Some people they like go towards Apple Music. That's their jam. Some people run to social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and so forth to market. Others just bring out music and kind of let it do what it do. What I tell artists and what I've told artists for a while now is that you have to dictate how you want to market yourself, what's more important to you. You have to make that determination eventually that if it's going to be about exposure, if it's going to be about fame, if it's going to be about just bringing out the music that you want to bring out because it's your passion, you make sure. Okay. Um, yeah, you have to. Okay, it says people are waiting. All right, so let's see. It sounds like she's in here, but she's not. So what I'm going to do while we're discussing this, let me see something. Okay, so I just sent her a message. For some reason, she wasn't connecting with the podcast. So anyway, you got to figure out what's more important to you. You got to figure out if it's exposure, if it's just bringing out music, if it's fame, if it's a dollar trying to make a buck, or if it's all of those. You get artists that kind of go in between. You get some artists that think it's all about making that buck. They want to become rich. They want to do this. Nothing wrong with that. You get other artists that just want the name. They want the credibility to say that they brought out, 1,000 songs and, or I'm bringing out a song every week. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Blah blah blah. You get other artists that they want people to recognize them, but where they like if they're on the plane or at the airport or in the club, they want people to know. Pulling up on, seen myself, blah blah. Want to be like what we call like Instagram famous, and then you get the ones that want all of that. They want the whole package. They want to be able to bring out music all the time. They want to be able to make a buck off of it. They want the exposure. They want the fame. Um, with that being said, all of those, you have to go different angles to do that. There's not one angle to hit all of those. Got to go to different angles. What I you don't just, I mean, it don't matter if you go through a major or independent or if you just do it yourself. When it comes down to, if you go through the majors, if you get the opportunity to go through the majors, then they're going to have a team that's going to sit down, think about things, strategize, and plan. Simple. They put the behind you, and it kind of goes from there. Still, yeah. Okay. It's still not letting her. All right, hold on 1 second. We will be back. Okay, I'm back. And we're still working, but I do want to get that information to you before we get on board. So give me 1 second, and I'll get back to you. 1 second. All right. So I'm back. We're still waiting for our guest, Corina Avalos, um, radio and media. I was going back. Um, is label manager. The team responsibility is to put together all this. Okay, it's saying, hold
Hello.
on. Hey, okay, there we go. Go. I ain't not your problem. It's been my problem with this software. Sorry.
Hi, I just want to mention, I'm not sure if this is happening on your end, but it's breaking up. Yeah.
I've heard that too. Can you hear me?
For now, yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah, like I said, I wanted to thank you for being on. You like it that way or this way?
Whichever you
Either.
prefer.
Okay, cool. Cool. Well, welcome to the show. I played a little bit of your video clip. Tell you about, I've read your bio, and we want to welcome you. Welcome to Skrilltown Talk.
Well, thanks for having me. I hope that you've had a good day so far, and I'm
Oh,
excited
yeah.
to speak with you today.
I appreciate that. So first question, I didn't know you were from the Midwest. Where are you?
Chicago, but I live in Nashville now.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're both Midwesterners from Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, home of the show. Well, welcome, welcome. Nice. So, how long have you been in Nashville?
10 years.
Oh,
It's
okay.
been
So
a
you've been there a while.
yeah. It's been a
Yeah.
minute.
Well, I don't know. Nashville is where it's at when in music. As of like years, one of the homes where you can get a lot of things done. They have a lot of conferences and they have a lot of music execs out that way. So if you're really trying to get things done and you don't have a home or you're looking for a music home, you might want to check out. Is that the reason that you came to Nashville?
Yeah, I came here for school and then I just never left. I graduated from school about like 9 years ago, so it's been a while.
Okay. So yeah. So we appreciate your time. I know how it could be hectic. I mean, you seem like
I
uh,
try to stay busy.
to us.
Try to keep busy. Just
You got
it's just
to.
yeah.
So how
I originally wanted to do radio. I grew up in Chicago. I'm not sure if you're familiar with like the markets, but
oh
it's one of
yeah,
the
oh yeah.
biggest, it's one of the biggest areas for radio. And
Mm-hmm.
I really wanted to do it because I fell in love with the personalities on the air. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm going to go to college for this. So I actually went to study broadcast journalism. And I just realized very quickly that that was only a little portion of the entertainment industry, and I wanted to keep exploring. So that's kind of why I came down to Nashville to continue my studies. I went to
Mm-hmm.
Belmont
Oh,
and I
nice,
learned,
nice.
yeah, I got my degree in music business. So I feel like it was a good,
Yeah.
like, encompassing of all the areas that I could potentially get by studying all of that. So yeah, that's
Yeah,
kind of how
nice.
I ended up here, really.
Really. So
Mhm.
with from Chicago, and I know how I've actually had friends that have left Kansas City to go to Chicago and pursue like performing arts or music, and so what would you say coming from Chicago, like the culture shock of being in Nashville now, and how things are a little bit different?
That it was. It was culture shock. Everything was so like faster pace up north. And
Yeah.
so then moving to the south, everyone's so chill. And I also didn't know what to do with like the overwhelming kindness. I was like, why
Yeah.
are you being so nice? But then I just realized that they're just nice here. And
Yeah.
so I mean, yeah, it was culture shock, and also just like not being around a lot of Latin people and people of color when I
Yeah.
first moved here. Once you get out of the area that I was in, there's
Hmm.
more, diversity.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely moving here, I didn't know anyone, so I really just stuck around campus, and
Hmm.
the majority was, the minority back home, but it's the majority here. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely culture shock for sure.
Well, and that's funny because yeah, my aunt she actually lives in Antioch, so I've been out there
Mhm.
a few times, Antioch,
Mhm.
Tennessee, which is right on the border of Nashville, and
Right.
I love Nashville, and the crazy thing is that it's kind of what you said, that Southern hospitality hits you differently
Hmm.
because people are nice, they're saying hi, stuff that you're just too busy to do in Chicago. I'm on you on the move. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
getting on the train, and you know what I'm saying. Like it's just a different culture out there. I love it out in Chicago too. I've been out there several times, but I will say that it hit me the first. Nashville was the first place I went to where I went downtown, and every club I walked into or bar I walked into, they were performing.
Hmm.
Like that was the first place that I ever seen the double decker, like one band up top, the other band down low, all playing at the same time. Never seen that before until I went to Nashville. You
Yeah,
know.
Broadway is definitely an experience. Like, I definitely think that anybody that's never been to Nashville has to hit up Broadway. But when you've
Hmm.
lived here for as long as I have, we kind of avoid it like the plague, just
Yeah.
because been there, done that, and it's just like so busy. We just want to go
Hmm.
to our local spots, just like any other place, and just
Yeah.
kind of get over it. And then, but I still suggest that everybody visit.
Hmm.
And if you're not like a party person, go during the day when it's chill.
Hmm.
It's still crazy,
Chiller.
but
Yeah.
chiller.
Yeah.
But it's like, but at night, that's when it's like free
Yeah. It's
for
popping.
all. Yeah, people are just reckless, and yeah, I mean,
Yeah, when you use words like reckless, I know what you, I know. I already know what you're talking about. So yeah.
yes.
So tell us about Up in the Mix and how you got like involved into that.
So, Up in the Mix was conceptualized really because I love music and I love radio. So, I
Hmm.
wanted to create a space where I can highlight both of those things. Like, we have new artists that we want to generate buzz for, or even artists that are very much integral parts of the industry. Like, I would love to just, praise them in that regard,
Yeah.
and give them their flowers on their new
Hmm.
music or new projects that they're working on. But also, I really wanted to have a place where I can really just like showcase, like, oh, look, this song is moving up to the top 10 on this chart, because of my
Right.
love for radio. Obviously, probably like the majority of people don't really care to know which one's number one. But for the people that are like into that, like, I wanted to give
Hmm.
them that, something that where they can stay on top of the music charts, and kind of know like if their favorite artist is killing it and holding down a
Yeah.
number one or moving up the charts. So yeah, that's basically where Up in the Mix came. But I
Hmm.
actually, it's for the most part, it's always been text online, and I
Hmm.
actually want to move into creating more on camera content because I noticed that it
Nice.
resonates more with people to be able to see a conversation on camera as opposed to just online text.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Mm.
And that's why I kind of did relaunch the podcast is because people like I started it up a few years ago, started getting the momentum going, and then I had to stop due to other business, music related business, and people were like, "Man, when you gonna do the podcast again?" That's because it's the information that you're giving, like you just said,
Mhm.
you're letting people know who's climbing to the top or who's dropping or what's new or and I like that name Up in the Mix, because it's
Thank you.
up in the mix. You're basically telling them what's going on and what's in the mix. So I like that. I like that a lot.
I
Um,
appreciate it. Thank you.
yeah, I like that. What I will ask you, because a lot of people don't know, and you're the perfect person to ask this question: how important is music, or is music important?
Absolutely. I think that music not only provides multiple things, it can take
Hmm.
you back somewhere, like nostalgia.
Hmm.
We think of, like, for example, for me, nostalgic music is like indie pop rock from the 90s because it reminds me of being on a school bus
Yeah.
and, like, just riding on the bus and like really having no care in the world. And it was the station that the bus drivers were listening to. So like it can take you to a place that you were once at,
Yeah.
or it can give you enthusiasm, motivation for your where you could go. Because some
Hmm.
people pretend they're in a music video at the gym. They're like, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
out. Like, I'm gonna be the hot girl in a music video." Like, it's really like
Hmm.
the possibilities are endless with music. But I also think that for the artists themselves, it's an outlet for them to express themselves, which is beautiful. And
Hmm.
so I very much think that music is so important.
Okay, so the next part of that question
Mm.
is this is a two-part question. Being Latin American, your
Mhm.
culture and music, how important is that and how has it changed since you were younger?
So, um, music has always been a very huge part of my culture. I'm
Hmm.
Mexican. Both of my parents are from Mexico, and there's always been music around. My grandfather was very like he was a musician, so he was very much always playing music,
Hmm.
singing. And so from when I was a little itty bitty girl, I just remember
Hmm.
always being around it. And so in my family specifically, I'm sure that it is for like just Latin culture because we always want to have a good time. We're, blasting music, whether it's cleaning at 7 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning, still going on from the 3-year-old's birthday party the night
Right,
before.
right.
You already know.
Yeah,
You
I
already
know.
know.
Oh, trust me. Yeah, I was married to a Hispanic woman, so I know. Yeah, I get it.
Like, first of all, we have no business having like 12 packs of Coronas at a 3-year-old party. That's not, we're not talking about that.
Right,
but,
right, right.
but yes, so music has always been around, especially in my culture,
Hmm.
for whatever the case may be. But, um, I think that with something that I've noticed how it's changing is like, especially because I'm Mexican and I remember
Hmm.
growing up listening to Mexican music.
Yeah.
I remember it not being mainstream. The mainstream music at the time was your top 40 hip hop.
Hmm.
And that's what I like always would literally beg my mom, please let me put the hip hop station. And she would be like, no, I don't know what they're saying. So she would only let us play Mexican music at home. And so
Hmm.
it's really cool to see that Latin music and Mexican music are just blowing up,
Yeah.
globally. And so I mean, I never did not think that this could happen, but it was like when. And so it's really
Hmm.
cool to see like these young bucks that are making, traditional Mexican music or even just making a new genre of it, which if I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but
Hmm.
corridos tumbados, it's something that came out from Mexican music. And
Hmm.
yeah, like it's just Peso Pluma is like blowing up too. Like
Yeah.
everybody know who he is. So
Hmm.
and yeah, and he's just like me. Like I see myself in him because he has, Mexican parents, but he, is from here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
he grew up in California, but I'm Chicago. But regardless,
Yeah. It's all.
yeah. So I mean, I guess I hope that answered the question.
What is it, La Raza, right? Um, so with that, and you're right. Like some of the dopest songs out right now have that Spanish, feel to it, and it all came from that culture. Like even though it don't sound the same, they still took it. They take little pieces of it. They add it to the beat when they compose the beat, the instruments they use, and the fact that it's crossing now, where you got hip hop and Latin music combined, and you got reggaeton, and you got all kind of other different genres mixing in. Is dope.
Mhm.
It's all like I think it's dope. I remember when I was younger and I would hang out. We would go to parties and stuff, and you had to know how to dance. That was probably the only parties that they was like, yeah, you ain't getting in if you ain't dancing, bro. Like, so if
Mm.
you ain't gonna dance, don't even go to that party. But I respected that because even the gangsters back then wasn't too cool to dance. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? It was all about the fashion. It was all about the rides, the cool rides, and all that. So, man, y'all got a cool culture, and I appreciate everything that is brought to the world. You know what I'm saying? Everything. Um, so going back into the radio part of it, tell people about like what's your philosophy on the way radio is now, and then how it used to be, because I know everybody says different things, and we ain't gonna get into the whole payola and all that stuff, but I want to know, like, you know you get the top 40 joints,
Mhm.
but then you get the independent and the different categories. So okay, this is the new track and this is going here and there. Like, how important is it to hit the top 40? Is it important to hit the top 40? Or do you even need a track, a song, a record on the radio?
It really comes down to what the artist's end goal is. Some artists,
Bam.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't want to be commercial. So guess what? Them being on the radio makes no difference to them.
Yeah.
Some people want to hit that commercial success, and that's imperative to be on the
Mm-hmm.
radio because, I mean, they're one fold, they're twofold actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it really depends on what the artist their goal is for their entire like their long term goal.
Yeah.
Um, but I also think that you shouldn't, regardless of what your goal is, your goal should not be that you want to be number 5 on top 40. That's not only are you potentially setting yourself up for like sadness if that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
happen, but it's not genuine. And right now we're
Yeah.
seeing a lot of like the people that are blowing up, it's their authenticity that's taking them there and them
Mm-hmm.
building genuine communities within their fans. It's not just like, oh, this song's gonna slap.
Yeah.
It's gonna hit. I could hear this on the radio. Like, yeah, of course, you're somebody's probably gonna say that, but yeah, it shouldn't. That's not should not be like the all encompassing thing of why you're creating music.
Right. Right. Well, and it's funny you said that because I had a conversation with an artist the other day, and I was like, back in the day, you could just perform and be out and be seen. Now it's a lot harder, but you can still be out and organic, like following. People have to see you. So even though your song might be on the radio or it might be on like YouTube or Instagram, whatever, people still want to see you. They might not stream your song or download your song or even want to listen to your song unless they can actually hear you perform or see you somewhere or even if you're at the mall or doing signings or anything. So that's where that organic part of it, I think, is starting to go away from, is because, like you said, people's like, oh, I just want to hit number one, or I just want to, I want to have 1 million followers, but all these followers, are they real? You know?
Well, you can also tell who does that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
You can. It's like it just sticks out like a sore thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't even want to name because I'm sure that
Nah.
you probably are thinking the same people, but
Yep.
yeah, you can just tell. And like being inauthentic, whether you don't realize you're doing it or not, it's not a
Mm-hmm.
long term thing. Like you have to keep up with appearances. So it just
Mm-hmm.
it just makes more sense to just be who you are, because that way you'll never be like scared to show your fans your true self and then being afraid that they're not going to like who your true self is. You might as well just
Right.
from the ground up build
Mm-hmm.
up based on people like, oh, you actually mess with me, like
Yeah, yeah,
you're for me, because not everybody's going to be for you, and that's okay.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
okay. And I think that artists, especially when they're being developed from the ground up, the people around them, their team should definitely emphasize that they're not going to be for everyone, and that's totally fine. But they should just always be themselves, be
yeah.
real, be a good person, and create the best music that they potentially can.
Well, see, and here's a crazy thing, and I'm pretty sure you being from Chicago, you ran into artists like mainstream and local artists, and you always know the ones that's real because you can probably tell me or anybody else a story when you ran into this person or you hung out with this person, versus, and I ain't gonna name no names, but I did security for a long time for some of the biggest concerts to ever come to Kansas City.
Mhm.
And I mean, like when I was doing security, I'm like right there, and I was a fan of certain artists until I was their bodyguard or their security. And
Yeah.
then I wasn't a fan anymore.
Mhm.
And it's like, so the same people that a lot of people are out here praising,
Mhm.
but I will say there was other people that was dope. Hey man, come back to the room after you get out, blah blah blah. Or I met Lil Wayne a couple times and stuff like that. They was like, yeah, real cool, down to earth people want to have a conversation with you. But then you got others that nah, not
Yeah.
at all. And it's like this is not the the image that you're portraying on TV and on social media. On
Yeah.
TV and social media, you're acting like you like the most down to earth person ever you will ever meet. And in real life,
Mm.
that's not the truth. So, like you said, when you start getting that organic following, it's because you're running into these artists and seeing them at places, and they cool with taking pictures. They're cool with giving you a shout out. They might even sign something, Happy Mother's Day or whatever, blah 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 to so and so. That's what you want. That's how you get there. And like you said, when it comes to it's our night.
Sorry, you cut out there for a second. What was
Oh,
that?
that's all right. Yeah. Did you get the last part I said? I was like, it just makes a difference from a person with longevity versus a fly by night artist.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I have the same sentiments with you as you. I wasn't security though. So
Yeah, yeah,
I don't think
yeah.
I'm tall enough to be that security. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's gone the other way where I walked in and I was like, "Ooh, I've heard like off things about them," and then you meet them
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, "Oh, not even like this person
Right.
is
They
so
cool.
nice." Yeah, they're so nice. And but like like you, I have also been disappointed where I've met a hero and I'm like, wow, that's disappointing.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
like
right.
it sucks because then now when you listen to their music, you're like, it just don't hit the same because
It
your
don't. Yeah.
your aura stank. So I don't want
Uh-huh.
to listen to you. I'd rather
Right,
listen,
right.
yeah, listen to someone that's actually a good person and I like. So
Yeah, yeah, because you
yeah,
feel some type of way once you didn't met them, and they, like you said, that aura was stinking, So yeah,
yeah.
but so some of the things that I would ask would be: you said you went to Belmont, you studied music and business. What are some of the things that you learned that you probably think you would have never found out just not going to school about uh, in relation to music?
Okay.
Gotta
Okay, so
love the internet.
you were asking about that.
Hmm.
What are some things that I went to school that I probably wouldn't have learned if I didn't go?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like things that
Ooh.
you find when you learned them, you was like, wow, I probably wouldn't have never knew this had I not went, and studied it.
Okay, so I think that, well, if I'm gonna be honest, I definitely think that everything that I learned in school now is available readily online, especially like
Mm,
a lot of the books that are super important to read about the music business. And I mean, I don't get me wrong though, I do not regret my studies at all. I
mm-hmm.
At school is where I made a lot of my connections, and now 9 years later, the connections I made in school, the people that were sitting next to me, are now executives. So
Yeah.
that's something that I would say I would not be able to have gotten if I did not go to
Okay.
school.
Fair
But
enough. And that's just as important.
yeah, I mean, it's so imperative because and this is like corny, but it sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know. And getting put in the right rooms, and then if your opinion is asked and you happen to answer it so eloquently and it lands you a job, that's
Hmm.
awesome. But yeah, I honestly will say that a lot of like the stuff that I learned in like classes, I ended up having to do it as a job. I learned it on the job because when you're in school, you don't retain things. Like
Hmm.
if a paycheck isn't attached to it, I feel like it's harder to want to grasp it. But when your livelihood
Yeah,
depends on
yeah.
it, you're like, oh, okay, I need to really kill it.
He's like, I got to get on this, like for
Yeah, I
real.
have bills, and my bills need to be paid.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, that's dope. Well, yeah. So my question would be like, where do you see up in the mix in the next 5 years? What are your plans?
my plans are to start doing my sit down series with artists, creatives, really any creative, which is like video, photographer, even the
Hmm.
lighting person. I want
Right.
to have conversations with people that are in the music industry and potentially open up avenues for people that are listening to not only learn about a job that somebody does behind
Hmm.
the scenes or about the creative process, and then for the future kids that are looking about going to school, that they realize, oh, these are all these different jobs that we could potentially do in the music industry. But going back to the sit down series,
Hmm.
I would like for Up in the Mix to, we get to a point where, we get to have really intriguing conversations with like big names, Peso
Yeah.
Pluma, Metro Boomin. That would be
Yeah,
amazing.
Metro Boomin. Yeah, yeah. You have to get
I
Twista on there. If you come from Chicago, you gotta have Twista on the show.
he's a mind that I didn't have a good experience with, so I don't know. I think I would
Uh,
rather do uh honestly, I would probably go the St. Louis route and do was it Bone Thugs,
Common.
and maybe even Sexy Red too. I love her.
Yeah, Sexy
she's
Red Dope.
she's
Yeah.
crazy. Like I'm like people. Some of the lyrics that I hear, I literally am like dying because I'm just like she's so funny. Like I
Yeah.
know that some people get really their panties in a bunch about like her lyrics because of course she's derogatory, but that's the
Hmm.
point. That is the point.
Yeah.
Like she came into this.
Everybody, everybody's not going to be able to relate, but some people will. It's
Yeah,
like any rap or any music. Like,
yeah,
it's been songs that I've heard, I'm like, But then there's other
yeah.
songs, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's, so,
Yeah. It's just,
yeah,
it's a for me it's because it's hype. I like her as a person, and she's funny. Like her
yeah.
lyrics are hilarious. I think the same about Moneybag. Um
Oh,
he's
yeah, money bags.
he's like, I'm just like, I'm sorry, I could never date him because I would cry every day because he's just a little player, but he's funny. Like I'm like, "Oh my god, you are so hilarious." But okay, so
She said I couldn't date him because I'd be crying every day.
I mean, I'm a lover girl, so don't take my
Yeah,
love for granted.
right, right.
Don't take it for like, because then I'm going to be in my feelings,
Yeah, you
and
gonna
then
be,
I'm going to
hey,
have to listen to emo music, and that
yeah.
is just
Oh my
no.
God,
But
that's great.
I would like to, one of my goals in like my career is I
Hmm.
would love to, have a platform and a space where I reach large audience, and like one of or actually two of my like career inspirations are Leila Cobo, which is she
Mm.
is the Billboard editor in chief for Latin music, and she's like a phenomenal interviewer. Gosh, her journalism skills
Okay.
are just like I want to be like her because she just I don't know something about
Did she
her.
just get promoted?
I think so. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah. She's
Yeah.
on LinkedIn. Yeah, uh huh.
Yes, and she's on LinkedIn. Yeah, no, she's just an inspiration to me. So as in just like as a woman, besides the
Hmm.
woman part, like she's just a killer journalist. She's always plugged in.
Hmm.
She's gorgeous, but besides the
Hmm.
point, and she's just like always in the know of stuff. And I've seen how like she's, she I guess is the mediator, not the mediator, moderator. She's a
Moderator. Uh huh.
moderator for a lot of panels, and like that would be amazing to be able to do that. But Zane Lowe is another
Hmm.
one of mine. The he's the interviewer for Apple, I believe.
Oh,
Apple,
okay.
yeah, sessions or something. And so
Yeah. Uh huh.
he interviews artists, and those two are two people that are like my huge inspirations in journalism. And I
Yeah.
just hope that, not hope because I don't like that word, where I see
Hmm.
myself taking up in the mix in the next 5 years is to really get to a world stage and just
Yeah.
have a platform where I can bring on artists and, interview them, pick their brains, and really
Hmm.
just ask.
the next question. And something that I would like to bring in as a journalist too, though, is not to be afraid to ask those questions. Like, I'm not going to ask dumb questions like, oh, so who are you dating? That's silly. Nobody
Right,
cares.
right.
We can read that on TMZ. I want to ask
Yeah,
like hard hitting
exactly.
questions like, what you eat for breakfast,
Right.
scrambled or over easy. I'm just
Yeah, yeah.
kidding.
Like, do you
But
like the flop? You
like,
know, do you like to
or like,
perform, or do you get nervous?
or right, it's so silly. Or like, just ask them like, is there a song of yours that you just would rather never perform again? Like kind of some off the wall questions, but that are fun and enlightening, and that can showcase a different side of the artist, as opposed to just those boring generic like, talk about track 12. Like,
Right,
that's
right.
great. Somebody else will do that, but I want to have like, I want to, what's the word? I want to personify, humanize that person. And that's really like,
Hmm.
I just want to have those conversations and, you
Yeah.
know,
Well, and you'll get to really know if that person is the person that you imagine them to be. You know what I'm
right.
saying? Because we visualize a person as being because of the music or whatever. If they're an actor or a model, you think of them maybe the role that they played their whole career as an actress. You like, oh, maybe she really is like that. Well, when you have those conversations, you find out if they are or if they aren't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So lastly, I would ask for any inspiring editor, media personality, person of Latin or woman or just in general, what type of advice would you give them starting out? If they were a driven person like you are, what type of advice would you give them?
I would say that once you really know what you potentially want to do, go for it. Just go for it. Don't be scared. I let, for a long time, I let my fear of being seen keep me from doing what I love. And then one day
Really?
I just said, I can't, I'm like, even though I'm so scared and my voice is shaking, I just have to do it,
Hmm.
because I would hate to leave this earth and always be like, what if? So just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You fail? Well, great. You fail, but you're happy because you tried.
Right. Right. Wow. Those powerful words. That's yeah. And I wish so many other people would understand that. Like, just go for it. Just put all the cards out, lay them all out flat. This is what I got.
Yeah.
This is my hand. You know,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like sometimes you ever been in a situation where you type up this either email or text,
Yeah.
and then you just send it and say, "Screw it." It's sent now. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh
No
well.
take backsies.
Yeah, like it's done. Well,
Yeah.
that's that same philosophy what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So be it. I just did it. I'm doing it.
Right.
I'm here. So I appreciate that a lot, and I appreciate your time on here. Last question: where can people find Corina online on social media? How can they get a hold of you if they need to?
So on social media, I am at Cori, spelled Cori .gunz, which is Cori.guns.
Okay,
I've had it
okay,
for a long
okay.
time. I've had it a long time.
Yeah,
Never.
I don't even want to know that story, but all right, Corey Guns, all right.
And then I also have my Instagram at Up in the Mixture, because Up in the Mix is already taken. So I did Up in the
Mm-hmm.
Mixture, just how it's spelled. But yeah, you can find me on Instagram on those. I'm on LinkedIn, Corina Avalos. I'm always happy to connect
Mm-hmm.
with busy bees from all walks of life on there. And then Twitter, I'm reverb_60 decibels. Very much my audio. I made that when I was audio engineering major. So that's where I got the reverb, the name. And I just never changed it because I apparently don't like change. So because I kept Corey Guns too since I was,
Yeah, yeah.
in college. And I'm sure like my peers are like, I think that's a rapper. And I'm like, He
Yeah,
was.
he spell it different. Yeah, he spell it different. He ain't as dope as me. You know what I'm
Yeah, now he ain't as dope as me currently.
saying?
Currently. But yeah,
Yeah.
those are really the places I'm at.
Hmm.
And if you guys want to hit me up, feel free to do so. Any new music, I'm so happy to receive it. I love having music sent to me for consideration
Hmm.
because it not only makes my job easier, but also if I like come across a new artist that I think is intriguing, I would love to interview them. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good to
Mhm.
know. That's good information to know. Um, like I said, this show is not only live right now, but it'll be rebroadcast on several different platforms. So that's good information to know. Thanks again, Corina. I want to do this recap maybe next year around this time, see how
Okay.
Up in the Mix is going, see how you're doing. But like I said, we appreciate your time. Sorry about the technical difficulties. This is a work in progress. This is like I think this is the sixth interview so far, but I'm just working. Like eventually it's going to click, but it's just been taking some time.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, I like your setup. I love like having the words across, and I think it's cool. And hey, technical difficulties, you'll get it.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you for
I think I
having
might have
me.
to throw this. Huh? What'd you say?
I said thank you for having me.
Yeah. I think after this weekend, I'm gonna end up throwing this laptop out the window though.
Hey, everybody needs a new device. I need to throw away my phone. So,
But yeah, but once again, thanks for tapping in with you, okay? Because we gotta talk Nashville business anyway. I got a lot of friends down there, so
all right, feel free to
all
hit me
right,
up.
most definitely. And thanks again, all the viewers that tuned in. Like I said, this interview will be rebroadcasted on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Twitch, and I think that's it. So. All right, we covered them all. So have a good one. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will talk to you soon.
Bye.